Here we go.
Happy Monday, folks. Shall we start the week with a communal confessional to relieve us all of that pent-up frustration from the weekend headlines? Yep, I think so too. Let's take a collective deep breath before we gnaw over the things getting our goat.
So the first item is on the Alex agenda.
On the Alex agenda. So keen were newspapers to cover another first-hand account of racial discrimination that they happily published and repeated a thought piece by an American student posing as a black member of the Northern Irish aristocracy. Alexander Jackson Mayer, who is a 22-year-old from New York State, claimed he could sympathise with Meghan Markle as he too was a black British noble and was constantly being asked for papers as proof. Or perhaps the papers themselves, who merrily carried the claims, should have asked for his papers, as it was entirely fabricated. It's a bit of a sad indication that campaigning press will chase anything that fits a clickbait agenda, and racism, of course, is all the rage. Perhaps before publishing material that contributes to divisions, tensions and anguish in communities, they should stick to objective truths and research the matters they are enthusiastically platforming.
Okay.
Just basic journalism, good skills, that, isn't it? Researching
it would be
quick check.
Standard, yeah.
A quick check. Now, you would have had to have been living under a rock to have missed the miles of newspaper columns and broadcast scripts on the Hancock affair this weekend. The outrage at the use of taxpayers' money, the hidden CCTV, the background stories and profile pieces of who she is and how they met. It's the stuff of newspaper dreams. But what seems so sadly lacking is moral outrage. It makes me wonder where small c Conservative values have gone. Then, of course, Brandon Lewis, the Northern Irish Secretary, was wheeled out this weekend to peddle the party line and said it was right the Health Secretary quit to focus on his family.
What he said?
Yeah. This is the man who dumped his wife and children on the eve of his affair being outed. I kind of feel like it's a bit of a sad reflection on a society which seems to be rapidly abandoning traditional values.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Sarah Vine, writing in the Mail yesterday, she's a columnist, talking about her husband, Michael Gove, but talking generally about what politics and that ethos of power and what it does to the ego, how it changes people.
Oh, definitely.
The only people who understand it are the partners of those who think they're now the most important people on earth.
But it's funny, I mean, definitely about 10 years ago, there would have been a lot more outrage at a lot of things in terms of the private lives of MPs. And it's a big talking point, isn't it? You know, should private lives be private lives, or do we actually care about the personal behaviour of the people leading the country?
Not enough, well, there probably is a huge amount of sympathy for Mrs. Hancock, but there was some uncomfortable photograph. You're about to do this, are you? Okay.
Hold that thought, because on that topic, the braying crowd of paps surrounding Martha Hancock is one of the most revolting things, frankly, I've witnessed in a while. Not only is the breakdown of her marriage public business all of a sudden, but in the most painful moments of her life, she's surrounded by a zoo of rabid photographers, desperate to make a bubble or two by capturing a snap of her looking distraught. She's behaved with dignity and strength. And I think it's about time a code of conduct was established and decent humanity prevailed.
I don't know if there were TV cameras there. I'd be surprised if not. I think it's very dangerous for us as journalists to start having a go at other journalists who are taking calls from news desks saying, could you go and do this?
Can you go and do something? Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
I think words like rabid are a bit over the top.
But we've seen these throngs, haven't we? Look, we saw them outside Dominic Cummings' family home after the Barnard Castle saga, and maybe people are less sympathetic towards that. But, I mean, I know, for one, having been a politician, what the sort of press pack, the throng of photographers can feel like on a busy day, and it's intimidating. And I can't imagine that, you know, this woman going through something utterly awful, knowing it's all over the front page of the newspapers, can't leave her house, really, without being people waiting for the money shot.
I get it, and I understand why, but I think television people are very good at saying, "Oh, the press." I mean, we're all in the same game. We're all, I think, sharing some sense of discomfort at that, for sure.
Yeah.
And I felt hugely for her coming out. She was just walking her dog.
Yeah, didn't she compose herself well?
But, you know, it's down to her husband. Soon to be ex-husband, I guess.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, on something a bit more positive, it turns out yet another Brexit dividend is largely being overlooked, because it turns out the UK has hit a very impressive milestone of now having $100 billion tech companies establish themselves on our shores. Those are tech companies that make over $1 billion in profit, and we have 100 of them, which is more than the whole of Europe combined.
Really?
Yeah. Staggering. It's staggering. And actually, they're called unicorn companies, believe it or not. Anyway, with the ability to
Who believes in
deregulate,
unicorns?
well, they exist now. With the ability to deregulate and beat our own path, we have become highly attractive to so-called tech unicorn firms, raising over $13 billion in investment collectively, including fintech, health tech, transport tech, food tech, and gaming. The UK now joins just 2 other countries, which are America and China, in becoming one of 3 countries to have triple-digit numbers of such firms, which is pretty staggering, considering they have populations of 300 million and 1.3 billion, respectively, compared to our modest 66 million. We punch well above our weight and can now offer major incentives to the most cutting-edge sectors. And well done, City AM, for covering that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's good news. I missed it. I would have put it in later on as well. But why? Do they explain why we're so attractive to?
I didn't.
Firms like this?
No, but I assume that a lot of this is down to looking to the future. I mean, these are very forward-thinking, innovative companies, and certainly the government's made quite clear they want to sort of reap the advantages of cutting red tape and incentivising, especially a sort of big boost in those very modern sectors, the innovative sectors related to technology and robotics. So
because we were all warned that the city and everything was going to be leaving London, that doesn't seem to have happened.
No,
in terms of finance.
Yeah, exactly. And for a long time, I remember during that Brexit debate, the word unicorn came up a lot, didn't it? These unicorn proposals, the Brexit unicorns.
Yeah.
And I love the fact these are actually called unicorn tech companies. And what in just US, China and us have just 100 of these, over 100. It's staggering. I mean, we're really doing well, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and well done, City AM,
on
for covering that.
a lot of things, yes,
On
we
a
are.
lot of things, yeah.
I mean, it's not. We should make it. It's not gone perfectly.
No.
It's not gone as you would have wished.
No. There have
entirely,
been some.
But
Yeah.
it's the good stuff that we need to talk about too.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right, and another thing I was fascinated by this morning was a published list of medical conditions and their prevalence between the different sexes. The article in the journal The Neuroscientist outlines major differences in the brain, behaviours and neuropsychiatric disorders caused by different hormones which have contrasting effects on brain development in the fetal stages. The article states that a lot of it is programmed into us before we're born and recommends sex-specific therapeutic strategies. Now, this, of course, drives a coach and horses through the new demand of not acknowledging biological sex as a major factor in healthcare, something that many medical professionals I know personally have told me quite privately that they're deeply concerned about, as data collection, prognosis and treatment risks being massively undermined by the new religion of it being offensive to take biological sex into consideration.
It's interesting because we keep using the phrase born a man or born a woman. You're born neither. You're born a child. But this research looks at in the fetus.
Yeah, and particularly the impact of testosterone on the development of the brain during the fetal area. And basically what they're saying is a lot of conditions, the neuropsychiatric conditions, so whether that might be Tourette's or depression or, there are a lot of them out there.
But they are... Is that more prevalent in...
I think, if I remember off the top of my head, it's 90% are men and 10% of people who are diagnosed with Tourette's female. And the list is remarkable because a lot of these, the difference in numbers were acute and very different. And they say it is down to the effect of hormones like testosterone on the development of the fetal brain. And actually, in order to be able to, look at how we can manage these conditions as a society as a whole and how to go about treatment and how to potentially prevent them from developing, we actually have to be able to look at these conditions on a biological sex basis.
Whenever we talk about this issue, I got into hugely deep water for misconstruing the difference between sex and gender.
Yeah.
You are the sex you are born with.
Yeah.
Your gender identity is something that obviously is up to your native life. But the number of X and Y chromosomes is there.
Yeah. But interestingly, actually, on that subject, I mean, I didn't read the entire article. I read as much as I could understand. But it was also saying things such as, homosexuality, even the selection of gender later on in life are also predetermined at that very young age and aren't caused by environmental factors. So
we should look more into this.
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic, but I'm just pleased to see someone publishing it and actually breaking those taboos and saying that, this is medical science and let's have a discussion about it.
And, of course, we were all talking about this last week because of the New Zealand weightlifter, now self-identifying as a woman in the female team, and a lot of articles at the weekend saying this is the end of women's sport.
Yeah.
And I know a lot huge reaction to that story.
Yeah.
GB Views at GBNews.uk, if you've got a view on that one.
And finally, I wonder if this one's going to get people wound up and emailing, and I kind of feel like it will, actually.
Whenever you do that, I'm never in trouble.
I've decided to riff on the fact that I have words that really wind me up. I'm sure you do too, don't you? And to me, they seem to come and go in waves. For reasons I can't fathom, the word robust seems to currently be on trend. I don't mind the word, but it's
all right.
I don't mind the word, but I don't understand why it's being used all the time. You probably haven't noticed, but set your dishes to pick it up, and you'll find out
the health secretary. His career robust. That's what Boris Johnson saying was robust on Friday. And Saturday morning.
Yeah, he was very robust, wasn't he? It's just bust.
Saturday afternoon. Anyway,
Quite.
Sorry, I digress. Do go on.
But no, which words really bug you? Which ones bug you, actually? Have you got sort of words that are getting on your nerves?
Woke is the one that really...
Oh, I know. Yes, it is.
Really
you hate that, don't you?
Yeah.
It does.
But let's not do that one now.
Right,
Keep going.
So mine include the words problematic, hate that word, which isn't just used in terms of sort of social issues now, but you find it's just in common parlance all the time. Instead of difficult, it's problematic all the time now.
Well, that doesn't bother me. But go on.
Lived experience, my truth, microaggressions.
Oh, my truth. Yes.
Oh, I make my truth. There's some other variant of truth.
Yeah,
variant. There you go. There's another one.
Megan.
Is that a word that bugs you? And but I think worst of all of those words that are designed to be racially offensive, yet are given a free pass, such as gammon and Karen.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair. Now, while the evolution of language is natural, and I usually find really beautiful, I'm not one of these people who's like, we must use old-fashioned terms. I quite like etymology. The prevalence of terms that exist to essentially create barriers between us, like my truth rather than the truth, rather than bring us together, is a trend I seriously dislike. So, I'm sorry, maybe that's a form of gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
I know, it's another one.
Another word,
Yeah. So I do really want to hear from you guys on this, because I'm sure there are going to be trigger words, there you go, that's another one, trigger, that also get you going. So make sure you email me, because this is something I'm going to, just personally, I'm going to enjoy reading those during ad breaks.
Your goat.
Yeah, what gets your goat? Remember, that's the email gbviews@gbnews.uk.
gbviews@gbnews.
What did I say?
You said gbnews@gbnews.
Oh, did I?
Which will get you nowhere.
That will certainly get Simon's goat, and the goat to the gallery.
Great.
Lots of goats being got.
Done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, a lot of alliteration. For an action's anchor.
Nice.
Yeah.